that this is now a new form of fentanyl that's going to be out on the streets and that our kids are at risk.
All new at 11 tonight, a new form of fentanyl actually being marketed to children. In an earlier newscast, we told you about the deadly drug found in Portland that may be more appealing to kids.
It's called rainbow fentanyl, and it comes in a powder form. K2's Eric Mock has been working in the story all day today and into the night. And Eric, you found out that the makers are actually aiming for that child age market, right?
That's right. That's what we're hearing from experts here in Oregon. And we want to show you exactly why that's so concerning. Take a look at this. We're actually using salt in the place of fentanyl to simulate fentanyl. But you can see it this is about what would it take to cause a lethal overdose in an adult. It's just a few granules of salt there, smaller than this nickel we have here, just for scale. And that's all it would take to kill an adult, much less a child, which makes this brightly colored, playful-looking new form of fentanyl so dangerous.
What we recently just found on a recent search warrant, what they're calling rainbow fentanyl.
In a video provided by the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office, a Special Investigations Unit deputy describes what they found at a recent drug bust in Northeast Portland. That included body armor, several guns, and the more traditional blue counterfeit fentanyl pills. But it's the new rainbow fentanyl found there that's got investigators and experts really worried.
We've been hearing about this over the last 6 months, about it working its way up the West Coast, and it is now here in Portland.
This rainbow fentanyl is in powder form, making it even more potent than the pill form, just because of how easily the powder can be dispersed in the air and accidentally inhaled or ingested.
I had heard about it, but we had not heard that it had actually reached in Oregon, and it was just a matter of time.
That's registered pharmacist and executive director of the group Need for Narcan, Kelly Sloop. Her group works to raise awareness of the dangers of fentanyl and to distribute the life-saving opioid overdose reversing drug. Sloop says there's a sinister reason why this new form of fentanyl is so brightly colored.
That looks more kid-friendly. That's what they're wanting to do, is market to our youth. And it is dangerous.
Dangerous because it only takes a couple of milligrams to cause a fatal overdose in an adult, much less a child. Would it take an even smaller dose to affect a child, or for a child to overdose from this?
Absolutely.
Sloop says it's impossible not to see the new deadly powder's resemblance to sidewalk chalk or even candy. So parents have to be aware of this.
My concern is that our youth now is going to be targeted, and we're just going to have more accidental poisonings, accidental overdoses. And it's not just going to be the counterfeit pills like OxyContin, Adderall. Now we're going to have fentanyl that's marketed and it looks like candy or taffy, bubble gum.
I'm scared to leave my home alone. As you can see, I've got cameras, and there's cameras all around the property. It's ridiculous to have to live this way.
New at 6 tonight, a nightmare for Southeast Portland couple. They say they've been terrorized for years by campers living in and around a massive treehouse built on city property. Good evening. Thanks for joining us for K2 News at 6. I'm Deborah Now.
And I'm Steve Dunn. K2's Angelica Thornton shows us what they're dealing with now and what the city is not doing about it.
Me and my wife pretty much built that park back there.
Oh, cool.
And we got married under those 2 trees right there.
Kerry Stickler beams with pride as he shows off his property just off Southeast Foster Road. The setting right near Johnson Creek seems serene, but Stickler's stories paint a much different picture.
I've been over there probably in the last 4 years, probably 20 times.
This is what he's talking about. This treehouse is about 100 yards from his home on city property. Stickler shot this video and shared it with K2, showing us the elaborate structure built up in the trees. There's even a window and a stairway surrounded by fencing. Stickler and his wife say a few dozen people have been living here, and they're not good neighbors.
They're right outside our bedroom window at night. We can hear them. They're fighting. There's, guys punching women screaming up and down the street. It's horrible.
They've threatened to shoot our dog. They've actually shot at us from up there when my dog was barking because they could hear them partying and stuff, and somebody took a shot.
Stickler told us he called police. Portland police couldn't find that incident for us, but they said they have a record of Stickler reporting gunshots in the past.
I've already, painted all the walls where they wrote everything.
Stickler also showed us his barn where he says someone spray painted racist graffiti.
It's pretty much a hate crime. My roommate's black, and they put an upside down cross and then used the N-word, painted it on my barn.
He believes it was someone from this camp.
Oh yeah, that's where we heard the saw running the other day. Chopped down a nice tree right there.
In Stickler's video, you can see chopped down trees and piles of trash stretching all the way to Johnson Creek. When we went to check it out ourselves, we found this, a dam built in the creek where Stickler told us people have been pumping water and dumping trash. This property is owned by the Bureau of Environmental Services. We reached out for an on-camera interview, but they declined. They did send a statement saying, in part, garbage on environmental services property is always of great concern, particularly along our waterways. Garbage can pollute the environment, impact water quality, and endanger plants and animals. This is why environmental services reported the site to the Homelessness and Urban Camping Impact Reduction Team. When we contacted that team, they told us city staff have been aware of this treehouse for several months. The property is owned by the Bureau of Environmental Services, and their staff have been aware of it since 2021. They told us they have been cleaning the site, but as far as removal, the fact that it's a treehouse wouldn't elevate it in terms of priority. City staff are actually more concerned about the overwhelming amount of garbage at the site. Not what the Sticklers want to hear, as they struggle to find some peace in what used to be their slice of paradise.
We can't even let our dog in our backyard by herself. We go out there every time with her, It's just crazy.
The crime that goes on here that's allowed, and the destruction of the property and the polluting the creek, it's got to stop. And so I don't know what the exact answer is, but something that needs to be done instead of just ignoring it, because it's not going away.
It's a hard thing to do to raise prices when you're a small business.
Mike Aldridge owns Mid-City Smash Burger in Portland. It's a food cart business that's greatly prided itself for its $5 cheeseburger, also known as a Smashy Boy.
A lot of our stuff has literally doubled or tripled in price. And so this is super unfortunate that, we can't continue to offer those $5 cheeseburgers, and we had to bump them up $1 to $6.
His business is one example of what so many are dealing with right now, nationally and locally.
When you opened in 2019 and now, the cost differences in just a matter of years.
Oh man, I think the big one that everyone kind of points out is cooking oil. Paying $22 for a jug, and now it's up to like anywhere between 52 and 60 at times. And it's just like, that's how we cook our fries. It's how we cook our nuggets. It's how we cook our fish. It's how a lot of people make mayonnaise. It's a huge commodity that is in every facet of the food industry and is now just wreaking havoc on our budgets.
It's not just food products adding stress. Paper products, to-go containers, those prices have gone up too. Aldridge adds bringing down wages was not an option for his business.
We want to be able to offer our staff, a comfortable living wage and not have them scrape by like a lot of us had to in this industry, coming up.
Over the last year, Aldridge has made small price hikes for other items on the Mid-City menu, but continued to preserve the price of the cheeseburger that the community recognized them for.
What was it? What was that breaking point where you're like, we can't sustain anymore? What was that point where you made that decision?
We were losing money. We're breaking even on days that were successful, over a year ago.
Aldridge, like many others, hope the community will continue to support local.
$6 cheeseburgers doesn't have the same ring, but it's at the same time, it's again the reality of the situation, and it was a really hard Band-Aid for me to pull off.